When it comes to favorite superhero teams, I am in no mean not a fan of the Avengers. They are not my most favorite team, that would go to Marvel's X-Men, and they're not my second favorite team, that would go to the Teen Titans. But the Avengers is still a part of my top 10 favorite team, nonetheless. It just is sad and kind of frustrating that for a while the Avengers didn't have anything worthwhile in their own properties. Technically they did, but their animated features of the Ultimate Avengers and also Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow were not as profitable. While yes, I do remember them and they were some of my favorite movies, especially the animated variety, there weren't too many Avengers films that really did exist. Trying to get the Avengers off ground took a long time. And in fact, if you followed this Avengers movie, you would know that originally it wanted to have the original team from the comics. This includes also the inclusion of Ant-Man and Wasp, and sadly it didn't ever happen, since Ant-Man and Wasp were not included into the Marvel Universe until years later. So, 10 years ago, I did check out this film, and I didn't think that it was the best film that I've ever seen. But does it get a chance to redeem itself? I think that it should. So join me for an honest and also lazy review as go back after 10 years, and no, I haven't been on this channel for 10 years, but after 10 years, I go back and I revisit a film that I kind of been a bully towards. Is it worth it, or is it not? Well, let's find out, because today I'm going to be reviewing the one, the only, the highly, I believe, beloved by many fans, and that is Greetings, teacher nerds and ladies universe, and I'm White Nerdy. I have actually finally have managed after 10 years to finally own my official copy of the Marvel Avengers film. And I gotta say, I was a little bit of a bully towards the Avengers. I always used to pick on it. I always used to make jokes about the movie. Not the Avengers just entirely, just the film in its question. And I think I've been a jerk to this film. I really do think that I've been a bully towards this film, and especially since I've been a person that has been bullied a lot in school. Maybe I accidentally took my anger out on this film, but it is in no means a bad film. In fact, it is directed by a great writer, not only in television but also in comics, Joss Whedon. And I do feel like Joss Whedon does make his directorial debut pretty well in this. He's not a bad director. In fact, there's a lot of favorite scenes that he does that I really do like. But Whedon is not behind the script, and I think that if Joss Whedon both wrote and also directed the script, this movie, I think that it probably would have been up in my high regard as one of the best Marvel films ever made. It doesn't deserve that quality, unfortunately, but as a standalone film, does it hold up? Well, to be quite fair with you, the Marvel films that came out before this, the solo films, the ones that were really spot on and spectacular, in my opinion, was the Incredible Hulk and also Captain America films. The other films that followed, such as the first film that Marvel did to line up for this was Iron Man, and I really didn't like Iron Man all that much. Thor was pretty much okay in my opinion, if you've seen my review of it, and Captain America and also the Incredible Hulk were blockbuster phenomenon films in my opinions, and also still are my favorite films. So does the Avengers really answer the question of does this become a teen movie? Here's the problem with the film. It doesn't do this right off the bat. I mean, for the longest time in this film, it doesn't feel like that this Avengers film is really going to be about the team. In fact, the first thing that actually ends up happening is that we find out that most of the heroes have been on intel, such as Black Widow has been on intel to go to Russia to try to get information. Dr. David Banner has been in India for a while trying to help people and heal the sick and everything, so Dr. Banner had not been doing much throughout saving people. Captain America had been beaten on a bag, and also sadly, the poor guy had been suffering from PTSD as well, and remembering what happened to his fallen comrades in his own solo film. And Tony Stark had been Tony Stark. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan. It's just that Tony Stark had been Tony Stark. He's trying to help the world one footstep at a time. My biggest gripe with the film, the biggest gripe that I have, is that it wants to be what the Justice League was, and at least that for the Justice League movie, we actually had the solo films, and when the movie came out, even though it wasn't what Zack Snyder originally intended, in fact, he released a Snyder Cut, which I haven't seen yet. The original film, in my opinion, was really damn good. I really did like the solo Justice League movie. But the Avengers here, in fact, the first enemy of the Avengers, yes, was Loki. But I think that the film should have went a little bit more around the territory. There are several great Avengers villains that they could have used. In fact, they really just could have used the Ultimate, the Marvel story, and just had it be the Chitauri. I don't really think that there was any need or really any force to drive this story forward if they used Loki to attract the Chitauri. I love Tom Hiddleston, don't get me wrong, he is a terrific performer, and I love him as Loki, as I stated many, many times before. He's terrific as Loki. The problem is, I don't think that he should have been the main villain and driving force of the film. In fact, Loki in this film really does come off as a monster, which that's what gives me the problem because I'm 50-50 on Loki being in the film. On the one side, Tom Hiddleston is a great actor and Loki is a great villain, and then on the other hand, I don't think that he's worthy of this film, but yet Tom Hiddleston and Josh Whedon prove me wrong. There are several times where Loki just goes over the top and shows just how much of a monster and a creature and also a threat that he is to the Avengers, and above all, I really do love it. Tom Hiddleston's performance doesn't break the film, it actually makes the film, but what's even more difficult is trying to decide whether Hiddleston really did save the film or kinda hinder it, and in my opinion, he hindered it. I already know that there's going to be so many people pissed off at me for saying that Henderson either made or break the film, and in my opinion, Henderson did break it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing on Henderson's part because he was a great, terrific villain in this. It's just that the type of villain that he is here, we don't get to see that as much in the Thor films, unfortunately. Like, he's present, but he doesn't make this big presence like he does here. I think that Henderson used his greatest villain performance here instead of in the Thor films where it should have been necessary. And I also do feel that, again, Loki should not have been the main threat. The Chitauri should have been the main threat, at least in this film. I do, yes, remember that when he did have the staff, there was a little bit of a calling towards him, towards the staff. I get that the Chitauri used Loki. So technically, again, the Chitauri were the main villains, but it still doesn't really have the film entirely. Even for the Chitauri, the CGI on them is okay for the most part. I mean, I can't exactly say that it's the worst CG I've seen. It's not, but it is in no way like the Godzilla 2014 film or even Pacific Rim. It's not that good, but I admit, for the time, it was pretty damn decent. But the film does do a great job when it really comes to the main players, the superheroes, and the way how the team acts with each other is what really, in my opinion, saved the film. I really do love how they act against each other at first, but then become a family towards the end of it. And I think that that was really something that the film did need, something that carries the heart of the team, and everyone in the team does this. No one goes too under and no one goes too over. It's just a great film all the way around, especially when the characters start to talk and interact with one another, which makes it more special. Also, it might be just me, but I really do love the fact of Thor beating the shit out of Iron Man. It just, in my opinion, just felt so needed. But the film becomes so much more grateful and so much more better when the team officially gets all together and really unite together, becoming the Earth's mightiest heroes. I have to be on par with everybody else. When the team up scene happened, I was applauding and I was very impressed with the team up scene, and also the music playing just had me more infamous. So, above everything else, everybody is thinking probably the same thing, as they all should, especially some friends of mine. Probably, especially with my friends like L'Oreal and Anastasia, who probably are watching this, might be wondering, like, does this mean that you hate the Avengers film? Yes and no. I still hate this film because it still doesn't really add up to a great Avengers film. There is still so much that keeps it from being a great Avengers film. I mean, having the Chitauri come in at the almost last minute mark of the film and having it be mostly on Loki, I think really hinders the film more than helps it. Henderson. Thank you so much. But I really do think that instead of Henderson being the main enemy, it really should have been Chitauri itself. I really do feel like Henderson, yeah, he's not a bad performer. I really do love Tom Henderson just as much as the other people do. But I just really think that this film might have benefited more just from the Chitauri if they just borrowed from the Mark Millar Ultimate story that he wrote for the Ultimate Avengers, as they're also known as. So I really don't think that this really was the almighty point behind it. And again, I know that comic book fans, because I am a comic book fan myself, and I owned one of the Marvel Classic collections of the first Avengers story. So you're gonna say, but Loki was the first Avengers villain. I know, and he was the one that brought the team together. But technically, Loki in this film wasn't the one to bring them together. It was the team suddenly realizing they need each other to carry on the mission and to actually be a part of the family and start the Avengers initiative. You do not know how pissed off that made me. I really wanted Nick Fury in this movie to say Jumpstart Project Avenger, and he doesn't. Not at all. So I do think The Avengers is a great movie. It just isn't more flawed than I really wanted it to be. I do like it. I do. I really do like it, but there's just so much that they should have really fixed really fixed before going into shooting. Maybe the Ant-Man and Wasp version was a lot better than this one, but I know that a lot of people are going to say this is one of the best Marvel movies ever made, and I can 50% agree with you and 50% disagree with you, and this is just my criticism, and I'm sorry if I pissed you off. But the Marvel Avengers film, in my opinion, is still great, but it's also still very flawed, in my opinion, which is that I think that this could have been saved a lot more than hurt, in my opinion, and we didn't get much superhero action until the big battle that happened towards the end of it. But let me know what you guys all think. Do you think my criticism is stupid and wrong? Do you think that I'm just stupid and wrong and that my criticism is all entirely incorrect? Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this movie compared to me. Also, feel free to let me know if I should check out the other Avengers movie if they're better than this one, or if you think that I really should skip out on all the Avengers movie. Let me know in the comments down below as well. I know a lot of my fans are going to be a pissed off Hulk with me, and they'll probably want to destroy me like the Incredible Hulk did Loki, but still, this is my opinion in my video. But in case you're wondering, like, I'm gonna be totally unfair and give the movie like my worst final pop rating ever, which if you can kind of piece it together, you can kind of figure out which ones I are my worst ratings and which ones are my best. But sometimes it just goes all over the map. Like sometimes I can give a rating, for example, a Magic, which I would consider a great rating, but then also, it would still be like, in my opinion, in the bad category. So I'm all over the map with my rating system. So I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna give the Marvel Avengers the rating of a Aquaman. It's not exactly what I would say like Aquaman's appearance sometimes. Like it's not the best thing that you have seen, but it does rise above your expectations once you get into the greater category of it all. So I really do think that the Marvel Avengers should get a Aquaman rating, in my opinion. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to my commentary on this and that. It's a great film, but in my opinion, it's just terribly flawed. But I still do like the Marvel Avengers, so let me know if you guys agree with me or not. Just to make a little bit more fun. And in case you guys are wondering if I will have any more like video reviews or movie reviews to talk about, like if I have anything that I haven't talked about in a long time or whatever, well, I've actually, and I have one that's off camera, but I'm saving that for another time, so shh. But, just to let people know, I found a lot of free movies of ones that I haven't seen in a long time. So, in case you're wondering if I review any of those movies that I've shown you, that's up to you. So, let me know which ones that you're mostly interested in. I might do a poll on Twitter, so follow me in the link in the description down below. Stay subscribed in case if you want to know anything else. And don't be afraid to tell me like which one that you're more interested to see me critique and review. Yeah, a lot of those films I've shown you I haven't seen in some years, so I'm rusty. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Avengers Assemble to my Twitter page, and again, link in the description down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've been the Universe. I've been waiting nerdy. Avengers Assemble with me. Keep geeking on, and I'll see you next time.